Hello, buddies. How are you? Today's story is considered a fairly recent crime, having occurred only a few days ago. We may state that it is one of the most heinous crimes that have occurred in the last 5 years since, unlike individual crimes that may be repeated many times, the criminal today is a serial murderer and is regarded as the first serial killer to arrive on the Egyptian crime scene in 5 years. So be ready for the scary details to start, but first, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell button. Let us begin our story. It all began when a resident of the seaside city of Port Said filed a report with the police. According to the story, he discovered a girl's body thrown on a desert roadway, which had a horrible and frightening aspect. Of course, the cops responded immediately to the crime site in the desert. They discovered the girl's body, which was entirely naked, with her face damaged with a sharp object, terrible bruises, and obvious evidence of torture. Also, her hair was terribly taken from her head, and I mean, whoever did this was not shaving her with a razor. But he took it out with his hand without any pity, a truly horrific scene. Of course, the police removed the body to forensic medicine and put up a security barrier around the murder scene so that the police looked for any evidence that could help them solve the crime. The underlying issue was that in murder cases, if the deceased did not have any identity documents, the cops found no reports that matched the description of the body. Also, as I previously stated, the body was naked, so the police did not find any identification papers, but the police came up with something else, because on May 16th of this year, a few days prior, the police received 2 other reports that 2 bodies had been discovered, which was very similar to the situation in the first report. One came from Port Said, the other from Ismailia, and the remains were of naked girls whose faces had been damaged with a sharp object, displaying evidence of cruel torture, and were placed on the outskirts of a highway, as in the first report. Upon issuance of the forensic report, the police corroborated that a single individual was responsible for all 3 crimes. This conclusion was drawn not only from the shared tragic outcomes but also due to the presence of narcotic substances detected in their blood. Moreover, it was confirmed that she had been subjected to extreme sexual assault characterized by an exceptional degree of brutality. The examination revealed the presence of incision wounds inflicted by sharp objects and evidence of beatings with whips on their bodies. Furthermore, it was determined that the immediate cause of death for the 3 girls was suffocation. The primary distinction among the 3 bodies was that the third had undergone significant decomposition. According to the forensic report, this body dates back to November 2023. During the preparation of this video, a 4th body was uncovered before the apprehension of the suspect. This ongoing situation necessitates an expedited arrest of this serial killer. In a strategic move, law enforcement thoroughly analyzed radar surveillance footage from highways in search of common links. This meticulous review led them to identify and trace a vehicle associated with an individual named Kareem. Following a swift apprehension, Kareem promptly confessed to the crimes and even requested law enforcement's assistance in staging his involvement at the crime scene. Seizing a moment of opportunity during this process, Kareem managed to escape but was subsequently recaptured while concealing himself in a public park. Kareem, an individual in his early 30s, possesses dual nationality, Egyptian and American. He is an alumnus of the American University in Cairo and holds a doctorate in psychology. It is genuinely difficult to conceive of this individual as a potential serial killer. Following his university graduation, Kareem was employed as an educator at a prestigious international school in Cairo. However, he soon resigned from this position to relocate to the United States, where he subsequently acquired American citizenship. In America, he engaged in commercial activities and married. However, after becoming a father, Karim separated from his wife and left her behind in the United States before returning to Egypt. Karim enjoyed a prosperous and affluent lifestyle, marked by financial stability and abundance. He possessed a contemporary, high-end vehicle and acquired a spacious apartment within an exclusive compound known for housing the upper echelon of society. In essence, Karim epitomized luxury living. However, Karim was not one to conform to conventional lifestyles. In a tragic turn of events, he chose to surrender himself to destructive forces, becoming dependent on crystal methamphetamine, a drug notorious for its extreme danger. The severe aggression often induced by this substance led Karim down a dark path. Under its influence, he committed heinous acts of violence, tragically ending the lives of several women and even his pet dog. During the preparation of his new apartment, he commissioned the contractor to construct a fully soundproof room. At that moment, the request did not arouse any suspicion. It appeared plausible that he might require such a space for use as a studio or similar purpose. However, this room would later be referred to as the death chamber. Karim established connections with women involved in nightlife through social media platforms and nightclubs. He engaged in repeated encounters with several of these women, sometimes providing financial incentives to cultivate trust. This trust facilitated their agreement to accompany him back to his apartment for extended periods. Upon arrival at his residence, they would engage in drug use and were subjected to being filmed before and during sexual activities. Upon examination of his phone and laptop, authorities discovered numerous videos involving other women. The identification and status of these individuals as potential victims of the suspected serial killer have yet to be confirmed. The authorities discovered not just pornographic recordings, but also audio and video evidence of Karim's vicious character. He cherished the thought of pain and violence, and the more the victims screamed, the more he enjoyed it. They were genuinely diabolical torture videos, and all of this was taking place without anybody hearing the victims' moans and cries. Because, as I previously stated, the room was soundproof, and I want to inform you that in that death room, satanic acts beyond imagination were taking place, to the point where one of the 3 victims, Karim, continued to imprison her for 30 days, forcing her to take drugs and brutally assaulting her when he became bored. He strangles her to death. All of this was inspired and motivated by Karim's favorite sadistic sexual flicks, and he wanted to experience the same emotion and pleasure as the actors, which is a horrible feeling of pleasure. After completing those deeds, he would collect the bodies and tie them up. He used a knife to disfigure their faces and body and remove their hair with his hands. Is there any logical reason for him to do this after he has killed his victims? We understood that he was motivated solely by sexual desire. He may find it sexually appealing to hear his victims' screams and anguish. But what happened after they died? He had no mercy for them, whether they were living or dead. After mutilating the body, he would place it in a travel bag and transport it to one of the desert roadways, leaving it to decompose. In truth, this is exceptional conduct in Egyptian society, which is inherently calm. Strangely, after disposing of the body, he would return to reward himself with a full lunch, as if nothing had occurred. It is noteworthy to mention that Karim was not merely an ordinary individual. He was a prominent figure on the social media platform TikTok, boasting an impressive following of over 600,000 users. His content focused on educational themes, and his most recent video upload occurred on April 23rd of the previous month. It appears that after concluding his actions with the victim, he proceeded to create a new educational video for his audience. The account name is Phonics for those who are interested in following him. However, this is not advisable. I strongly urge you not to follow accounts associated with serial killers. Instead, subscribe to my channel for the latest updates and news concerning serial killer cases. Karim did not select his victims at random, rather, he had a deep familiarity with them. It is likely that his background in psychology significantly aided him in both choosing and manipulating these individuals. While it is suspected that the number of victims may be as high as 7 girls, no definitive information has been verified thus far. Additionally, there remains uncertainty regarding the purpose of the videos he recorded, whether they were for personal use or intended for sale on the dark web. This scenario bears a resemblance to the Shubra al-Qaima child case, which is detailed further in the video description provided. Investigations are currently still in progress. At this juncture, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the dedicated followers of my channel. Your support is deeply appreciated. Please take care and stay safe.